Welcome to the Wellness League podcast. This is the Try Me series. I am Ella.
I'm Amanda from Triathletes.
I'm Emily.
Throughout this series, we'll be covering everything in the sport of triathlon.
From competing in a sprint distance, Olympic distance, 70.3, and right up to Ironman, giving you all the tips and tricks from our experience in the sport.
And in episode 11, we are covering top tips from transitioning from a sprint to an Ironman distance or 7.3 distance event.
So guys, I'm a sprint racer. I've signed up for a half Ironman. Give me all your advice because I need it.
Where do we start?
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing that Amanda and I jumped to before we were discussing it was practice nutrition.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. In the sprint distance, you can get away with just having water.
Yep.
But in 70.3, it's going to take you hours and hours, and you need to have something, otherwise you won't finish.
Okay.
Another one I would say is like your day a little bit more, so it's a little bit more logistical. So make sure you get all your travel organised and make sure you know when you're gonna go to transition and put your bike in because that's always the day beforehand usually. Well, usually sprinting it can be sometimes the day of.
Mm-hmm.
So just organising all the logistical stuff for the event.
Yep.
I think also going right back. Okay, you're just starting now in that journey. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming.
Yep.
So just break it down and go, well, I've got 20 weeks or I've got...
It's like 200 days.
Yes. Well, but when you start training, whatever it is,
Thanks.
you've got a long time.
Yeah.
And just know that you can do it because there's been plenty of people before you have been able to do it.
You know what I keep thinking? There's plenty of 80-year-olds still racing.
Yes, exactly. So you know that you'll be able to get through it. So trust that you'll be able to get through it. My biggest thing would probably be have a coach or someone that can keep you accountable and just give you that feedback too about what you're doing, because right at the beginning you're doing a lot of aerobic sessions, which are fairly easy. But when you get further in and you're getting more tired, if you're just planning your own, you don't necessarily have the skills or knowledge to know whether you should be training again the next day or just going okay, this is a hurt and a pain and a fatigue that is normal or it's not. So having someone that you can go back to and either a coach that you can plan it all for you so you don't have to worry about it, or someone you can check in with.
I think
really
that progressive overload and not loading up too fast is what I've learned so far.
Yeah.
I for some context, I used to race sprint, did for many years. Used to play many and lots of team sports, and so I, up until the start of this year, other than playing team sports, hated running, only because I knew how crap it made me feel. I have since, 4 months in now, and I've run 10Ks 3 times and probably many more until this episode comes out, but it's feeling better. The ride I'm not too worried about because I can do 50Ks pretty comfortably. I think it's just down to nutrition to be able to keep going on that, and the swim, I can already do 2Ks pretty easily, but it will just be the brick sessions of putting them together is what I'm worried about now.
Yeah, because I think with the swim you can do 2Ks, but at the moment you're probably doing 2Ks and then going home.
To work, mate.
Or to work, but it's still a different fatigue, but you have to do 2Ks and then go and do 90Ks and then do a 21K run.
Yeah.
So you need to know that you can get out of the water and not be so fatigued that you can't do anything else.
I think this is the brick sessions is where the swim needs to go next.
Yeah. Or even longer distance. So you probably think, okay, I can do 2Ks.
Yeah.
You should be able to do 3Ks.
Yep.
So because that will give you the fitness and the endurance to be able to then go onto the bike.
Cool, Big news time. We have a big brand new sponsor for the Wellness League podcast. So, can you guess who it is?
Hi, I'm Lana from Live and Breathe Active, or LAB, a small family-run business run by a group of passionate people that, we live and breathe this shit. Whether it's run, swim, cycle, or try, we make gear to get you through those tough training sessions. We help you get up before sunrise, and we will still be there with you well after sunset. You will see us before you hear us with bespoke prints designed by artists just for you. We are driven by our values and are focused on performance and community. And we are super proud to be partnering with the Wellness League podcast in the Try series. Find out more or shop online at liveandbreatheactive.com. We can't wait to have you as part of the crew.
How good is that, hey? Discount codes and the link will be in the bio. But you know what? Let's go back to the pod.
my other tip would be, know you're going to be tired. You're going to be so tired. Some days you're going to be grumpy and it won't be your usual self. And when you finish the race, you're like, oh my God, who did I become? But know that like it's like you are going to be tired and your body is processing that. So you like, but you need to read how tired your body is, because if you're going to wake up and you've got a session and you're feeling, oh my gosh, I'm tired, it might just be that you are tired, but you still are able to get out and do that session. And it is important sometimes to do that, like, and do that session and train under that sort of like tiredness. Not when you're think you might get injured or you're too tired, but reading your body a bit more.
When do you find the difference between being tired and being fatigued that you should have a rest day?
I find I can just tell in my body. Like some days I just generally don't want to go because I am tired, but I know when I get on the bike I feel better. But other days I'm like, oh my gosh, like my body is not functioning today. Or sometimes I'll be like, let's just do this session but cut it back a little bit shorter. But I will say as well, like when I'm training for a long distance event, like that doesn't happen a lot for me to try and cut it back. Like that is very specific days when you read your body.
That's what I find,
But also a coach would then, if you had a coach, they would go, like you might do 3 or 4 weeks hard and then you have an easier week. And you're, okay, I can do this. I know it's only for another week or so that I'm going to be really tired and then I'm going to have an easier week.
So, and surround yourself by like-minded people. So like people like this who can just give you tips when you're riding or do this, or like, hey, have you taken that gel yet? You know, like people around yourself that are positive, like-minded people, because it is a sport where it does take a lot of your time. So you might not be able to like go to, you know, the late dinners. You might rock up to the dinner for the first hour and be like, sorry guys, I've got an early training session and go. So it's just really important to have that social connection in training, I find.
This is why we train together.
But talking about nutrition, just practicing your nutrition in training as well. Because then you'll know how it's going to feel, and can you actually have a gel while you're riding? Like, are you good enough to be able to take your hand off, rip the gel open, have the gel, put the rubbish in your pocket because you can't just litter anywhere. Like all these things that you just need to practice.
It is hard enough taking a gel while running.
But well, I find riding is probably a little bit easier because you're not puffing as much.
True.
But it's all that practice that you just need to do and practice. And then, you know, if you're getting home and you're hungry, then you haven't had enough energy while you're racing, like while you're training. If you're getting home and you're full, like really full, maybe you've had too much. So it's all that balance, like how much is right. So what is right for me is not necessarily what is right for you. So friends will tell you, well, I have this, this and this, but that might not be right for you. So you just need to keep practicing that in training.
Yes.
100%. Yeah. And just keep a positive mindset through it all.
Yes,
We'll be right. If we make it there.
And, you know, weekend training is usually your longer training. So you go on for like a bike ride and maybe do a brick and run off that. The next day you're going to run again, possibly. A lot of triathlon programs are like that you run then on the Sunday. And you're running on tired legs. So you know that run's going to be hard. So that's a good practice for the race, because by the end of a 70.3 you are tired. And it is okay to do a run walk strategy. And a lot of people will train with that run walk strategy. So I did that for Busso, trained with a run walk strategy, run 14 minutes, walk a minute. And that was my plan, kind of getting to an aid station. So run in between the aid stations, take some time to walk through the aid station, drink, have something to eat, and then run again.
Okay, cool.
And so it was never a 21k run. It was a 14-minute run. And that's much easier to process.
Oh, I like that.
I just need to get to that next aid station.
Nice.
I did a similar thing for my Ironman. So it's like the 42-kilometer run, and the aid stations were every 2k. So I cut it to a 21k run and was mentally be like, let's get to the next aid station to have something. Let's get to the next aid station to have something. And it just shortened it for me.
Nice. Cool.
And then your last lap, it's just, you know, it's the finish line and you're coming home. And there's always a lot of people supporting around.
I was going to say, that's the biggest thing for me is embrace it. Like, I love it because when I look back on my Ironman photos, I come smiling in all of them. And you just got to embrace it and be so proud of yourself for being there. So just be reflecting back on the journey and where you've got to.
Love that.
Thanks, one more thing. There's always one more. When you're either riding or running, you will go through times when it's really hard and you're like, I hate this. I'm going to throw away my bike. I'm done with it.
I've done that already many times.
But give yourself 10 minutes, because you'll find, and you'll find this probably in training as well, if you give yourself 10 minutes, then you'll actually start to feel better again. And then so it's a real up and down process, and the training's like that and the race is like that.
Cool.
But overall, like pretty much everyone I know signs up for another race after they've done one. So there's something in that.
I would say though, one last thing: wait a month after your weigh, because otherwise, if you've done your long race, you've seen, whoa, you're on adrenaline, you sign up, and then suddenly you're like mentally like, whoa, I need to just have like a little bit of time with unstructured training or this or that. So like wait 1 month after your big race and then be like, okay, like reconsider then.
Yeah.
Well, last weekend I was almost going to sign up for the 100 series in Singapore next year, but I haven't signed up yet. Anyway, thanks guys for your tips. That was great. Shoot anything at me that you want to anymore, but I think by the time this comes out, I will be knee deep, whatever you are deep in training.
Look forward to seeing how it actually goes for you.
Yeah, thanks.
So follow your progress.
Yes. So thanks for listening. This podcast will be on Spotify and YouTube as a video, Apple Podcasts, to have a listen. But in the meantime, go and follow us on the socials at the Wellness League Pod pretty much everywhere, and at discovering_ET. Amanda, you are?
I'm at trifit.tim.amanda on Instagram, YouTube, Trifit with Tim and Amanda.
Don't forget that we love our tops and they train better. But who are you?
Emily Barrett 101 on Instagram.
Love that. I will tag our Stravas in the show notes so you can laugh and follow me along the way. See you next Friday. Bye.
Bye.
One more to go, guys. One more to go.